Hi, and welcome to Testlab. We all know that HHA makes one of the best sights in the industry, the Optimizer. We also know that last year they brought it out to crossbows, and we were able to shoot up to a 200-yard shot thanks to them with a crossbow and their Optimizer. Now they changed the game again by bringing you the Horizon, made for guns. So we took the Horizon and we thought, what better way to test this than to give it to people who know how to use guns very well. So we hit up our friend Tom Smith again, and now we're going to check in with Tom to show you how to use the new Horizon from HHA.
Hi, my name is Tom Smith with Testlab, and today we're talking about the new Optimizer Horizon. You may have seen some of the other Optimizer products out there that we've been testing on bows. This is the first product Optimizer has come out with for rifles. The Optimizer is going to be something you can adjust to change the angle of your scope for impacts without changing the actual adjustment on the scope itself. Now this gives you the option of minute of angle adjustments, and it also gives you an option for adjusting exactly to yardage. Optimizer Horizon has the ability to adjust and correct impact for your scope for rounds that can travel anywhere from 1,050 feet per second to 4,100 feet per second. Now this works by just actually camming the scope at different angles. And they actually had 3 different options for whatever round you might be shooting. And these rounds actually range from anything from a 22 rimfire all the way up to something that is a high-powered rifle that can shoot up to 4,100 feet per second. We're going to go over today actually mounting this product and talking about some basic understandings of what minute of angle is, which is going to be needed you need to understand minute of angle for actually putting the tape on here that they have for adjusting, so you actually have a yardage adjustment rather than minute of angle adjustment. And the product's able to do both. Very simple instructions that come with this product. It's a well-built product. Appears to be all CNC machined aluminum. Very tight tolerance to it, and they talk a little bit about that as you go through the whole product. So as we get to installing that, we're actually going to be installing this on my H&R 12 gauge shotgun, which actually is a pretty tight patterned 12 gauge, and we're going to talk about a couple different rounds and the different feet per second so we can understand how these different tapes work when we mount them on. Okay, the Optimizer Horizon actually comes with 3 separate tape kits, and these tape kits are designed to be mounted on a ring that is adjustable for yardage. On the ring itself, when it first comes with the kit, it actually has minutes of angle. If you're familiar with your weapon and you have a scope that you have minute of angle adjustments in, and you can actually adjust off of that correctly, then you can just use that on your weapon. If you actually want to move it to simplicity, where you just do a range to the actual target, they offer these 3 kits to put on there to interchange with the minute of angle tape. Now these minute of angle tapes, it shows different colors here. The green tape is for weapons that fire from 1,050 feet per second to 1,900 feet per second. The yellow actually is for 1,500 feet per second to 2,800 feet per second. And the orange is for 2,500 feet per second to 4,100 feet per second. That gives you a range from anything from a 22 long rifle all the way up to a medium to high velocity center fire rifle. So this is a very versatile, adaptable system for anything from a 22 all the way up to a high powered rifle, which makes it extremely easy to use out in the field rather than trying to figure out minute of angle and a lot of other calculations that are more of a headache when you're trying to just take an animal. The Optimizer Horizon is designed to mount on a standard 7/8 picatinny rail system. We're going to actually be taking my scope off of my shotgun that is mounted on a standard 7/8 picatinny rail system, and be placing the optimizer on there first, and then we'll be mounting the scope to that. So it gives you basic an idea how this works. They also give a retaining pin that you put in there, and it's held in place with a Allen key. They also talk about not using a scope over 13 inches. They said for best accuracy that you can get out of this system, you definitely want to use a high quality scope. You're not going to get any accuracy out of using a real basic low end scope. You can't expect as much of a quality shot out of the product. So you got to take all the variants out of it. The actual optimizer itself is a very high quality product. You can tell by the construction of it. It's built out of aluminum and CNC milled product. Very nice piece. So we're going to go ahead and take off the scope off the rifle here and get into installation. Optimizer recommends that you mount this in a position that's not going to interfere with any type of ejecting mechanism, hammer mechanism. You also want to give yourself enough adjustability back here so you get proper eye relief with your scope. What eye relief means is you want to have good eye shadow when you place your eye at the proper distance from the back of the scope, and you see the complete picture on the inside of your scope. There are 3 adjustable screws on here that mount this on there, and I'm actually going to be placing a little bit of Loctite just to ensure that it is stabilized on there and not going to come loose with multiple shots. The Allen key needed for these adjustable screws on here are the 9/64 Allen key. It is what you need for the end of the Allen head there. Now this unit will actually slide up and down the picatinny rail system until you put the stopper in. The Optimizer Horizon comes with a minute of angle spool already on the actual optimizer itself. On the left-hand side of the optimizer, you can see it's got quarter minute of angle adjustments and full minute of angle adjustments. To give you a quick understanding of what minute of angle adjustments are, 1 minute of angle at 100 yards is approximately 1 inch. Now that is assuming that your rifle or shotgun or whatever you're shooting can hold 1 minute of angle. Just because this can adjust 1 minute of angle at 100 yards doesn't mean your weapon is capable of doing that. Ideally, if your weapon is capable of holding 1 minute of angle, 1 minute of angle adjustment at 100 yards will move you 1 inch on the target. As would 500 yards, 1 minute of angle would adjust you 5 inches. The Optimizer Horizon gives you 28.5 minutes of angle and is supplied with 2 interchangeable spools. Now the spool that's on here is a minute of angle adjustment. They give you a blank spool, and this gives you the ability to, once you have zeroed your scope on the optimizer, actually narrow it down to actual yardages. Now I've decided to go with the green yardage tape, and this yardage tape gives me the ability to use a round that travels from 1,050 feet per second to 1,900 feet per second. As you can see here, I'm using the Winchester XP3, and they have a velocity of 1,900 feet per second. And I'll also be zeroing this weapon eventually with the Remington, and that is a 1,850 feet per second round. Initial adjustments on the optimizers will be zeroed at 50 yards for what my application is. The optimizer itself comes adjusted to 0 from the factory, but you want to double check to make sure that 0 minute of angles is directly underneath the red indicator on the optimizer. If you have to make any adjustments, you turn the locking wing nut counterclockwise to loosen, and then you can make your adjustments. turning the dial clockwise to make sure that it's at 0, and then go ahead and lock that in place, turning the lock nut clockwise as well. Then lock it in place. Then we will zero the scope using the turrets on the scope to zero in at 50 yards zeroed on the optimizer. All additional adjustments from this point will be done using the optimizer. Now once that your weapon is sighted in at 50 yards and you're holding a tight group at 50 yards, you're going to be doing the adjustments on your optimizer to take you out either to 150 or 200 yards. Now for my application, I have a round that is traveling at 1900 feet per second. So the chart that they give you with your tape kit, which is mine is the green tape kit, for 200 yards, I'm going to be adjusting out to 46 quarter minutes of angle. Now they have a full minute of angle adjustment on the right side and the quarter minute angle of adjustments on the left side if you're facing from the back of the gun. So we're going to turn this counterclockwise until we hit 46. Making sure that it's marked directly underneath that red indicator. I want to make sure I'm in the picture. We're on 46 there, and then you're going to go ahead and lock it in place using that nut, locking it down locking it down clockwise in the 46th position on the quarter minute of angle adjustment. Now we can go ahead and sight in our weapon at 200 yards, and we will make adjustments on the optimizer for making sure we're directly on target. Once you have it zeroed in at 200 yards, that'll be your mark point on the optimizer, and you leave it in that position. That'll be your final mark. Now, these adjustments on here at 46 minutes of angle are just approximate. They will get you within 12 inches of the aiming spot on the target. So if you're a little bit low, you're going to want to rotate the dial counterclockwise. If your bullet is a high, you're going to want to rotate the dial clockwise. Once you have achieved an extremely accurate group at 150 or 200 yards, you're going to want to read what your final reading is on your minute of angle reading at the red dial there. So say that my final reading needed to be 48 for hitting dead center, holding a good group at 200 yards for my setup here. I want to indicate that it's at 48, and that'll help me decide which tape that I'm going to use out of the 90 separate tapes that they give you in the green tape kit. Now the Optimizer Horizon green tape kit gives you 90 different options for different tapes. My final adjustment on here, we talked about it being at 48 quarter minutes of angle when it was directly under the red indicator with ideal grouping at 200 yards. The chart that comes with there indicates that we are to use, with the final adjustment being 48 on the quarter minute of angle, chart number 81. So we're going to use tape number 81 right here, and that will be what we'll be putting on our blank spool. With our number 81 tape removed from our kit, we have our blank spool. The kit indicates that you're going to install the tape near the Allen key, and it says you don't have to be exact. There are high and low grooves. You want to install it in those low grooves. So we're going to place that in the low groove near the Allen key and go ahead and run it all the way around that groove. They also give you a sealing tape that you'll put over the top of that. We're not going to show that right now. We're just showing this to give you an idea how to install it. We're going to remove this Allen key from the minute of angle spool and remove that minute of angle spool. Being sure not to adjust it as you take it off. There's our minute of angle spool. Now we have the new spool that is going to be for our yardage lines from 50 all the way up to 200. And we're going to install this, making sure that the 50 mark is directly underneath the red indicator on the optimizer. Go ahead and tighten this down using the Allen key that comes with the blank spool that we've applied our number 81 tape to. with the minute of angle spool installed for yardage, making sure that the 50 is on the red indicator, we should be able to adjust the optimizer, ramping up our scope and making the adjustments from 50 all the way up to 200 yards without having to adjust minute of angle on our scope or adjust vertical adjustments in the scope. So pretty straightforward and simple installation on the product. It's a very well built product and I'm looking forward to testing it out in the field.
So there you have it. The Horizon's going to be one of the biggest things in the industry for the gun hunters. It's going to give them the ability to reach out super far and get the job done. To learn more, go to HHAsports.com. I'm Dave Thomas. Thanks for watching Testlab. We'll see you next time.
I love when people shoot that thing. Nobody's ever prepared for it.
What the hell?